Terra Classic just received some news from the L1 task force that changes everything. You can perceive how long burned armed force apart that I need team tweeted out this Antor post from Ed Kim, that discussions about legitimate portrayal for the Terra Classic DAO. Essentially the Terra Classic environment may be asking how could legitimate portrayal being required for the Terra Classic biological system? All things considered, we've had a few people locally approach self-coordinate and propose different ways of restoring Terra Classic or push ahead with terminal work of art. Presently in the always changing lawful scene this is extremely challenging, giving guideline from the SEC, other country around crypto guideline and simply these overall guideline gives that should be thought about while chipping away at the blockchain with the monetary instrument. Kim says over the recent months I've been converses with 6 distinct US-based law office and they chose to go with Skyline's regulation and council and gathering, which you can see here. This is the group for this gathering. You can see that there are certainly associated with the crypto space. We will return again several focuses Ed makes about this also later. However, you can see here are a portion of the different colleagues. They're clearly extremely engaged with crypto. They like these different crypto-style NFT pictures. We can likewise see that we need to revisit here. They presently have been working a lot with various crypto projects. So for instance, they served as Alana's most memorable general direction and from that point forward they have really worked with projects like Assimilation, something in the universe biological system and a couple other crypto projects that you might perceive here. Thus those legitimate gathering plainly has insight in the crypto space. They have a grip concerning how crypto guideline functions and they can assist us with pushing ahead. What's more, in the conversations when Longburn would jump into various conversations, Twitter spaces, different webcast recording, that's what things like, they continued to make reference to the way that this gathering, they comprehended where we're coming from ordinarily on the off chance that you need a legitimate portrayal. Like these different ventures that got lawful portrayal, you should burn through critical measures of cash. Notwithstanding, they perceive our novel conditions as a Terra Classic local area where we simply have very little cash to pay them and they're willing to begin working for us pretty modest similarly to these different undertakings. What's more, assuming you value this data, ensure you guys are buying and down underneath, see this another video, very much like this one. To the extent that how much this will cost for legitimization off the get-go, they're mentioning an underlying local area spend of $20,000 as a retainer for this regulation gathering. Presently one of the enormous things that they have prescribed is for us to lay out a seaward establishment organization that is related with a Terra Classic DAO or Terra Classic people group. In any case, clearly the issue with this is that the surmised cost. Provisioning, it will be about $100,000 to set that up. So tremendous costs really set up a seaward organization and that is clearly not something that we have the assets to achieve the present moment, which is the reason they're beginning with this $20,000 that will be separated as follows. So the principal thing is exhort the local area on strides towards basically making that Cayman Islands seaward enterprise. Produce counsel to alleviate U.S. administrative gamble so SCC different administrative gamble there those inquiries from the 2 classic local area which will be great as we begin to investigate for instance the repechage. We could really get questions addressed by this legitimate group about what we may or may not be able to. A board will be framed to interact with the law office clearly at the expense of legitimate while you're talking $300-400 60 minutes. You don't need just anyone associating with them with nothing to do. We really want to make sure that we're extremely understood, exceptionally succinct, extremely focused while we're doing the legitimate group. That way we're best with our cash being spent. What's more, as I referenced, a rundown of inquiries will be organized and introduced to the lawyers and will likewise give rules to workers for hire working from local area pool spend. So predominantly the one team this, new UX group that. Kim's assembling in whatever other groups that will be getting local area pool subsidizing to foster on the Terra Classic environment. They'll help prompt with regards to how we can deal with that in a legitimate manner to keep away from any legitimate dangers and maybe pondering who is addressed by this law office. What's more, I believe it's vital to comprehend this sentence here. In the underlying stage, the law office would work with the center givers on non-classic to direct the cycle towards this objective of empowering more individuals to really be safeguarded. They may be pondering would you say you are as a tuner class of local area part and Terra Classic holder secured? Well basic response here is no. Nonetheless, we will benefit as Terra Classic local area individuals since we will have this lawful portrayal to ensure that our organization doesn't run into issues legitimately where suppose each of our designers end up in prison on an outrageous situation, or on the other hand different conditions where we turn out to be limited, where we can't be exchanged the US, where we end up into those sort of issues that would prevent the capability of China Classic. So this would help the Terra Classic people group. You may not straightforwardly see the advantage, however it's all the more so the thing we're keeping away from is the advantage that this gives. Presently there is something here that I need to feature. That is a truly pleasant sentence. Better believe it. Should there be any kind of contention between the person who's been addressed or for this situation, a singular center supporter in the Goofball Classic DAO, or basically the local area, the law office could address the DAO. So suppose we had one more dev bunch come on and they wind up accomplishing something that we could do without and the lawful gathering wouldn't address them. They would address us as the genuine Classic DAO. Where's the two sorts of local area? They then, at that point, proceed to feature a portion of the various strides towards really empowering us to have an orange Seaward organization, since that will cost $100,000. I don't see us doing that at any point in the near future. We're about to skirt that part and go down to the end here ought to become vital. Any LUNC CLASSIC people group part can compose an administration proposition to end the commitment for sensible reason in a second-hand store. Honest intentions proof. So suppose we see that this lawful group is simply not doing what we need to do. We could really end that, which is uplifting news for us. We're not gotten into supporting them until the end of time. Furthermore, upon end, Terra Classic will actually want to be mauled back any unspent tokens in the remuneration bundle. So suppose we've given them $10,000 up to this point. We have another 10,000 has not been given up to this point. We wind up dropping the understanding since we could do without what we see. We can then push forward and recover that $10,000. It's anything but a sunk expense, which is great to be aware. We can really get back a portion of the unspent cash on the off chance that there is any. Thus for me actually, toward the day's end, I think we want some type of legitimate direction. Presently I need to do more research onto this skyline regulation gathering here with these various individuals. Could see more concerning what the worth that they can give. Clearly, as referenced, they have worked with various cryptographic money environments, yet I certainly think we really want something since we will go into arrangements eventually. Something will occur here where we really want to have Go Classic having legitimate portrayal. Most other digital currencies, they have some sort of group with legitimate portrayal that empowers them to go into arrangements where we could really enter in, for instance, with various things in the universe biological system to acquire extraordinary incentive for the preliminary class environment. Furthermore, I would think we prefer not to pass up that open door. Guys, that is a big update. If you guys enjoy the content you want to stay up to date. Thanks for watching guys, see you in the next one.